Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out The Lost Child, or as I'm going to call it in this video, The Missed Opportunity. This is a dungeon crawler from not from the same it's probably got most of the same people in it, but this is a sequel to a game I have never played. I can't even remember what its bloody name is, but it was this really popular, and by really popular I mean cult classic popular, game on the Xbox. I keep thinking it's Enslaved Odyssey to the West, but that's not it. I know for a fact that's not it. It's El Shaddai Ascended to the Metatron, that's the name of it. And it's a dungeon crawler, when the previous game was like a third-person action game, so yeah. So let's go have a quick look around before we actually go in. You can't actually get to the options out here for some reason. It's just upload save data and download save data. This localization feels really lazy, and that's just one of the reasons. There's a lot of things in this game that just don't make any sense, like some weird word choices, things that are actually the exact opposite of what they're trying to mean. I'm not going to go to the effort of pointing them all out, but if you see one, mention it in the comments, because the amount of just weird uses of English they've gone through in this game is just retarded. So let's load into my game. Now, it says I've been playing this for 5.5 hours. That's a lie. I've been playing it for at least 6, but it's probably closer to 7. The problem with this game is the really long battles are really long. And if you fuck up right at the end, or should I say the game decides to chuck 3 undodgeable attacks at your main character and kill you in one shot, you're fucked. And that's happened to me more than once. So yeah, it's one of those games where the balancing is a real right pain in the dick, but we'll get to that. So, the initial load time is actually really damn long, so I'm just going to put my Vita down for a bit, because the technical performance of this game is not great. It's got some performance issues, especially after you go into and come out of battles. Why did that load so quick? That should not have loaded as quick as it did. What the hell? Okay, whatever. Yeah, but the game's got some performance problems, and you'll notice them right away, but we'll get into them when we actually get into the dungeons themselves. So we can hit up our tablet menu, which is just our manage our party menu, and we'll go down to the options right away. I just hit the circle button. I'm an idiot. So let's just go down to the options menu straight away and have a look at everything here. The default sound volume, let me try it again, I'm having too many fucking strokes today. The default sound options are off balance. The voice volume, despite the fact that it's up at 100%, will always be drowned out by the background music, which is at 70. And I don't know why. It's dumb. It's really damn dumb. Also, message skip is useless, because if you have it on fast or instant, which is like the only tolerable message speed in the entire game, look how slow message speed slow is. It takes like 10 seconds to fill out even the shorter text boxes on that one. But if you have it on fast or instant, pressing X will actually skip more than one text box. Because it says hold X to skip messages, but even if you just tap X as fast as you possibly can, it'll still skip another message or two every now and again, just because it's too fast and it can't make up for it, and it's dumb. It's really fucking dumb. It actually pisses me off in more ways than you might think. You can turn off the battle effects, and honestly, you probably should. I'm going to leave them on for demonstration, but they actually slow down the game a lot and actually make the battles way more of a chore than they should be. And you can turn Lua's battle voice on or off, and frankly, I would also recommend turning this off immediately. You can change how fast you move. It actually starts down at 1 for no fucking reason whatsoever, so I started playing and I'm like, oh god, don't tell. Oh, thank god, there's an option in the menu. And you can change what down and left and right does, and you can change your difficulty, and you can change your voice language. Notably, in a completely different, type of font and option in comparison to everything else. You can tell everything here had some time put into it, and then when they put the change voice language down here, it's obviously a patch job with $5 worth of glue. Now, we're not going to be able to hear much of the dub in this video because I don't have anything in particular saved for this. Actually, no, that's a lie. I actually will be able to show you at least one thing, but both voices are not great. The Japanese is better, but by virtue of not being as awkward as the English, just because I can't actually understand it, so I don't know if it's the Japanese equivalent of an awkward English dub. But yeah, the English dub in this game is awkward. None of the characters are particularly likable to begin with, and their voice talent and all that is not great either, so it just doesn't work. It really doesn't work. It's honestly depressing. And yeah, can you tell that I'm not going to have much more praise for this game? That's a lie. I have some praise for it, but not many. So, investigations are basically your side quests. So, you do these side quests by going into the things and getting your side quests. Some of them are investigations, but they call them investigations, and they basically just go around and talk to people, and some of it will just get sorted out on its own. It doesn't really require any real investigating, more or less. Like, you go to the right place, and eventually it'll just give you the reward for it. Actually, no, it doesn't give you the reward. You have to go back to your office to get it, which is even weirder. Data list, just your encyclopedia, nothing out of the ordinary. It's, equipment is also nothing particularly out of the ordinary. You can find equipment, some of it with special abilities. You can fuse equipment together to make it stronger. And that's pretty much it. And you have two hero characters, two humans. Well, actually, technically this lady's an angel, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference anyway. And you've got two characters. When they level up, you can level up their individual stats down the bottom right there, except, she can do everything, I think, but he can't level up his magic attack because he doesn't actually have any spells. So, yeah, that's the thing. Individual items, you've got... I bought a ton of these warp items, and I didn't even realize that they didn't stack. I'm not entirely sure why they don't stack, but everything else does. And, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff you can get here. I'm just going to sort my items just because they are not correct right now. Yeah, there we go. So... you have OO parts, which are basically just like unidentified items. And you've got items that you can sell here, and you get an absolute fucking ton of these, if you couldn't tell. Like, look at all the ones I've got left over from my last dungeon run. It's kind of silly. And, of course, your different weapons and items and stuff that you can... Ooh, that might actually be a decent bit of equipment since it's got fire... Oh, no, right, yeah. That gives me power plus 6%. I don't really need that. But yeah, you get a few different kinds of items, nothing too out of the ordinary though. Skills, you can come here to have a look at all your spells that you can use. And we'll get on to Astrals, we'll just go into our party. So this is how the game works. You can carry 3 Astrals in your main party and then 6 sub-Astrals. And you can swap between these at any time. So if you've got someone in your main and you want to swap them out to your sub, you can do that anytime you like. You can even do it in the middle of a battle and it doesn't cost you a turn. It's very useful. You can also add different Astrals to your party. So for example, say I wanted to put Kerberos into that sub slot there. I can do that. Not a problem. However, if you try to do that in battle, so if in battle or just in a dungeon, you can swap between main and sub at any time. But if you try to swap out a new Astral in any one of these slots, it will cost you a bit of your battery up the top there. You can do this up to like 10 times. There are items you can get to give you more chances at it. But that's basically it. So it generally encourages you to get a more balanced force going on. And of course you've got the Astrals themselves. These are basically Pokemon. You can capture them by using the Astral bullets that you get in as a battle ability, like really early on in the game. It's like the first thing you get. And you can capture these by killing them with the Astral bullet. So this is a Fallen Angel, for example. I'm going to need 77 purple karma to purify it. And once I've purified it, he becomes mine, and I can use him in battle, if I so wish. The only ones that you can't use in battle are these ones here. This is a boss monster, which I can't purify because I don't have the item for it. There are Fallen Angels and Demons are the purple and red ones, respectively. You can't do Fallen Angels until you get a specific upgrade to your demon capturing gun. And you also will probably be able to catch just Fallen Angels later on, I assume, because I'm going to guess that's what the blue is. I mean, think about it. Blue Karma, you got red Karma that's demons, what would blue Karma be? Who knows? So yeah, you get the general idea. You can select a Astral to strengthen them, and you need to use experience that you find. So I've got 9,000 Fallen Demon experience. I'd rather use it on a Fallen Demon because, a Fallen Angel I should say, because Fallen Angels, your 3 different kinds of karma, depending on the type of the monster, will determine how much they use in their experience. So this guy here is a fallen angel, so red karma and blue karma will only have half the effect. So you want to be using the right kind of karma with the right kind of monster, just as an example, right? Easy to understand. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There are other things that we can talk about, but I'm gonna try not to spend too much longer around the menus here because we still got a little bit to go over. If we head to our lost office, we can actually talk to this guy, but the voice dubbing in this game is really freaking weird. Sometimes you'll get full voice lines, sometimes you'll get one voice line, and then the rest of it won't be voiced. And then you'll get, just little grunts and stuff like that, you know? Like they do in pretty much every English dub ever to save on dubbing budget. It's really weird and thoroughly inconsistent, and it doesn't change the fact that all of the characters in this game are really fucking boring. Like, I've been playing this game for 6 hours, 7 hours at this point, somewhere in between. So yeah, this is me just finishing up an investigation here, and I get some free items for it, which is nice, but those health items are actually useless. So you can come here to get different investigations, you can accept them, and then you can go out and start investigating. So that one is out near Akihabara, so we can go and have a look at that. And we'll actually do that. I didn't actually really have a plan for this video going in, but that has saved me a lot of trouble. You can also save out here. There are also save points in the dungeon, and I would recommend you save as often as possible, because you can get stuck in a position where you can't get out of the dungeon without getting yourself killed. And this game is one of those games where, well, if you game over, you get the ability to either pay to restart the battle or pay karma to go back to before the battle, but it's entirely possible to get stuck in a situation where you'll get into another battle and just die repeatedly over and over again anyway, and that lost me a lot of progress. So the spa is pretty easy to understand. You just come to it, and every time you go into a dungeon, you can use these effects. So I can use Bath of Battle for a little bit of extra HP and attack power. There are also times where characters will walk out from the spa and you'll get a bonus, like this, for example. See? You get even more bonus. That was not something I was expecting to see. But yeah, you get plenty of bonus stats for that. Once you come out of the dungeon, that's it. Can't go back in once you come out of the dungeon, you lose the ability right there and then. So if we come to the Pandemonium Camera, this is where you come to get your items identified, and you can also, as I said before, smelt together certain items in order to get them stronger. Oh, nullify sleep, that's actually pretty cool, but takes my damage down by 5%, which I'm not a fan of. Yeah, you get the general idea. The items in this game are boring so far. Nothing too grand, I have to say. The Witch House Bookstore is just your item shop. The more you buy there, the rarer items you can get. And Shodenji, this is actually interesting. I'm actually going to go in here, because why not? Just give it a moment. Because load times in this game are crap. So you have to come here from time to time in order to level up an Astral that can't go beyond its level cap. So for example, this one here, I don't remember what this bloody thing is called. Yeah, the deep ones. Its maximum level was level 12, but I used a Darwin's branch to unlock its level cap, but it went back to level 1 in the process. So I had to level it all the way back up to level 14 again, which I'm kind of regretting doing because this guy's actually kind of useless. He's actually really fucking weak. I guess the upside to him, though, is he's actually got a lot of skills here. Like, you can see he's got Lightning Attack, Dragon Flame, Steel. These are all really useful, like, elemental attacks. Which is actually kind of nice because there is the Spirit Scale, which is actually an interesting mechanic. You can pick a skill here. So let's just say I pick the Dragon Flame Seal, for example. I can now select another character and actually give them and actually select one of the skills to sacrifice. Oh, I have to select more? Really? Defensive, offensive. Yeah, there we go. So, you have to put up a bunch of skills, but once you put up the required skills, you can transfer the skills. So, the compensation skills go away, and you get the other seal in return. So Enoch here now has the ability to attack flame. And yeah, you do lose it off the original one. And the way you get more skills in this game actually kind of makes this mechanic annoying. Mainly because you have to have dudes out on the field a lot for them to actually get new abilities, which kind of sucks, honestly. I'd love to be able to see, like, just a list of the spells they learn eventually, which would be nice and handy, but I guess that's not going to be a thing. So let's just go out to the world map. There's not that much to see on the world map. It's just a list of, locations you can go to in mainland Japan. You want to know what the story is for this game? You get a gun from an angel that can capture demons, and basically everybody who isn't an angel is working against you. That's more or less it. There's really not that much else to it. Like, the game does have this whole investigatory thing to it, but it's more or less just walk to a place, talk to everybody, and that's pretty much it. Eventually, you'll either get the hint they'll let you move on, or you'll have to go down into the dungeon and find it, more or less. Strange Light always managed to ruin his shot. Is that anything relevant? What about the maid? What does she have to say? No, she's just an advertisement. Great. So I have no bloody idea what this investigation here is referring to. I'm assuming that... Could a ghost have something to do... Oh, no. No, that's done. Wait, where's the one that I opened? Right, I'm receiving strange calls in and around Akihabara. Okay, I'm gonna guess I just can't do that one right now, so I might as well just go back to what my original plan was. So, every now and again you unlock what they call a layer, and the layers are dungeons, more or less. There are regular dungeons, and then there's this one kind of dungeon which is actually a relatively special dungeon, called the Dungeons of Reale or something, and it is... Like, it's a dick. It is absolutely a dick, but most of the dungeons in this game, honestly, are kind of a dick. So we'll just pop into a dungeon and have a little bit of a look around. There's not much else we can do, really. I've been through, like, 3 dungeons at this point. This is, like, nearly the end of the 3rd dungeon in the game. And I'm kind of, I'm not impressed, if I'm being perfectly honest. They're pretty basic dungeons, not that much to them, really, so we're just going to use autopilot to get down to a lower floor. And the autopilot in this game is annoyingly finicky and doesn't work with some things, which is awesome. You'd think that they'd be able to figure out, like, one-way doors and stuff like that, but apparently it can't. Not one-way doors. There are these railway things in the 2nd dungeon under Akihabara that you can get onto, but the autopilot can't take into account, which is really frustrating if I'm being perfectly honest. So, we're just going to walk around here for a bit. No reason not to, really. So, there's your save point over there. That's your stairs that go up. And there's a bunch of things like, here's an environmental obstacle, and I immediately get into a fight. The game's random encounter rate is pretty high, and the battles themselves are actually pretty slow, because as I said, those battle effects really do not help. So, I might as well show off what the Astral Bursts are like immediately. So, here's how they work. You have a choice between multiple different kinds, and depending on what the type of the attack is, what will boost it and all that, it will make your attack more powerful. So the fire one here, because I've got a pretty powerful fire type here, and it's the most powerful kind of Astral Burst I've got right now, it means that it will do a massive amount of damage when it lands, because as far as I can tell, the Astral Bursts have never really missed. So yeah, 300 something damage, and there it goes. I have captured that thing, although I think I've already got one of those, so I don't think it would have transferred in anyway. So yeah, that's your Astral Burst for you. Its power depends on that gauge up the top there. It will fill up slowly the more damage you do and the more damage you take. However, if it fills up completely, you won't be able to use it for a turn, and it will fall back down to 0, which is kind of unfortunate. Other than that, there really isn't that much else to the battles. There is one unique mechanic, however, which is pretty cool. Not amazing, but pretty cool, and you do kind of need to work your way around it if you want to actually use it to any sort of advantage, but, you know, it's a dungeon crawler. That's the sort of thing you do when you build teams in this game. which is actually kind of difficult considering that you can carry along like 9 different demons and you can only have 3 of them out at a time. Anyway, I should stop and actually talk about this system here. So, this is how you get treasure in this game. When you come across a treasure chest, you've got your danger meter on the left and your unlock meter on the right. And you can choose to investigate the trap in order to find what type of trap it is. And then you can use either just your typical unlock ability, and it will increase by random either the unlock meter or the danger meter. Or you can come over to one of your demons and use their skill. Every demon also has an unlock skill, so you can use this skill to help you unlock the chest better. If you can't unlock the chest, it'll throw a trap in your face, and you can choose to just give up on the chest and just walk away. Which is actually pretty neat. But yeah, there we go. We unlocked it successfully, and we get an ornament. Wonderful. And a bunch of cell items. As I said, you get a ton of these. You get an absolute ton of those. You also get karma. You can get a lot of karma in this game just by running around and fighting random dudes, which is actually pretty useful because some of the bosses in this game are absolute fucking dicks, and you really do need to actually go through the effort to level up and get as strong as you possibly can to defeat them, because they are absolute douche nozzles otherwise. It can get rather frustrating trying to beat dudes in this game, I promise you that much. I just walked over lava. I'm an idiot. So, yeah, get as much bloody karma as you can by fighting as many dudes as possible, because if you don't, you get screwed. Because the bosses in this game are way harder than the actual monsters that come before them, and it seems to be a bit of a pattern. Like, in the second dungeon, the Akihabara dungeon, I was fighting everything that I came across, and I was eventually killing it all in 1 or 2 shots each. And then I just ended up eventually stumbling across the boss, who wiped the fucking floor with me. It seems to be relatively unbalanced in that sense. Like, it isn't smooth progression, you have to grind. Which is honestly really disappointing, just because I like my dungeon crawlers better when they're more reasonable on just the amount of grinding they expect you to do. I'm just leveling up these dudes a bit, because I've got the karma to do it, and I'm probably going to need them for what I plan to do at the end of this video, which is fight off a big boss. And, well, that's more fire. Let's not walk in the fire, please. There doesn't seem to be much in the way of hidden walls, at least not yet, which I'm kind of grateful for, although I did play through the other dungeon, which I'll get to shortly, and it did have a hidden wall as a thing. What else is there? The dungeons themselves otherwise aren't particularly, like, magical or amazing. I mean, for something that's based off the Cthulhu mythos, like, the big bad of this game, as far as I can tell, is Cthulhu himself. So, yeah, for a game that's based around the Cthulhu mythos while tossing in a bunch of demons and stuff like that on top, for all of that, it seems oddly, I'm actually going to use my my Astral Burst here, and yeah, this is how you swap out dudes. And as I said, you can do this as much as you damn well please. Alright, so Astral Burst, yeah, that's going to be the best thing I've got either way, isn't it? For a game based on the Cthulhu mythos, the dungeons so far haven't really been particularly, like, Lovecraftian. I mean, they've just been particularly usual locations. Like, this is a volcano, the previous one was like an underground subway, and the first dungeon you walk into is literally city streets, and that's boring as hell. There is, of course, the other dungeon, which I will get to eventually, I promise, but I just need to talk about everything else the game has going for it first, which is, if I'm being honest, not that much. But yeah. I never got around to explain that bloody mechanic, did I? So, those eyes that are in the bottom right corner of the characters that you see down there, those little eye things there, the redder they are, the more likely they are to get attacked. No, did I go over that? I'm really losing my memory at this point. It's kind of depressing. Yeah, I went over it anyway. So, continuing on. The actual graphical fidelity of the game, though, is fine, I suppose. I mean, some of the monsters are decently cool, but I don't know. I'm just not a fan of most of the art in this game. I mean, Like, the art of the protagonist and his angel friend just both look retarded. Like, seriously, I'm not a fan of this guy's art at all. And this is the guy we're supposed to be following around. I don't know why, I just don't like it. Same thing with bloody Angel Lady. What kind of Angel Lady is dressed like this? Seriously, I was expecting something more like Palutena, but I guess not. Anyway, moving on again, I suppose. You know what, I'm just gonna go and fight a boss fight, because why the hell not? So let's go down. Yes, use the autopilot. And the just overall technical quality of the like dungeon graphics, just as an example, we're not going to get to these pair of stairs without, yeah, there we go. One of the weird things about this game is that the encounter rate increases as you go through a door. So every time you walk through a door, even an area that you've already like been through a door, you'll get your shit wiped by a random encounter. So there you go. So yeah, as I was saying, the general graphical fidelity is okay. The major problem with it is that the game is a clunker by most general standards. I mean, everything feels slow under the fingers. Your movement feels slow. Movement through the menus feels slow. Look at all these animations coming in. They aren't smooth at all. And of course, all of the battle animations make the game slow to a crawl. Sure, you can turn them off, but they still look kind of nice at least. And it's just not particularly great. Like, just moving through the menus, selecting all your attacks and all that, and even just watching all the animations isn't particularly interesting, just because there's just the technical quality of the game just holds it all down. I'm not entirely sure why. I've seen better looking dungeon crawlers perform better than this. Hell, most experience games, like, I know I'm not that big of a fan of the experience games. I like Demon Gaze and basically nothing else by them, but at least their games looked really damn good and didn't stutter and just fall over like this. Like every time you come into... No, every time you save, just as an example, when you... Wrong staircase. Fuck. Okay, back it up. Can't even remember which staircases are the right staircases to go down, for fuck's sake. Christ, what was I saying? Yeah, even the experience games looked great and didn't, like, have these sort of issues. And I'm not entirely sure what the justification is for this game having these issues, because these effects don't look any more impressive than your typical... Oh yeah, I remember. The staircase I'm looking for is this one down here. Because these dungeons are really fucking annoying. We'll get to that very shortly, but yeah. There just doesn't seem to be an excuse for this game being as technically unpolished as it is. Might as well talk about the dungeons while I've got my mind on it. The dungeons in this game are annoying. Mainly because they are really, really widespread. And it's mostly filled with nothing. Like, you'll end up running into an absolute ton of dead ends and just, like, doors with, like, 2 spaces behind them and just random shit like that. And I have no idea why, but the dungeons in this just feel like they're here to waste my time, more or less. Like, you'll spend a lot of time just wandering into places that have absolutely nothing in them, and you'll just end up having to fight another fight, which of course is nice and slow, because that's just how it happens. And it's just... I found myself being really frustrated going through a bunch of these, dungeons just because they're so big, and it's needless. Like, they don't need to be this big. Why are they this big? Just a little bit of streamlining could have done it so much better. Good night. Oh my god, there's like 5 enemies behind it. Alright, let me show you something that's kind of stupid about this. So, every dungeon crawler you've probably ever played in your life has an auto battle system, right? Where you can just tell the AI to more or less just, you know, attack. And attack, and attack, and attack, and attack, and attack. That's not what auto battle means in this game. Auto battle just means repeat what you just did on the previous turn. That's all that it means. It doesn't even do it like all the way through. Like, it won't even do it all the way through the battle. It'll make you do it over and over and over again. So the best idea is just to hold down the X button. It does the same thing anyway, so... I'm not even sure why it's called auto battle. That's what I meant when I said this localization feels weird. Like, it feels like it was given off to, like, the D team? You know, like, they've got an A team. Like, NIS America having an A team. Who would have thought? Oh man, that's mean. They've done a few good games. I mean, like, it's clear the people who worked on Danganronpa probably didn't work on this one because of just the general quality of the writing. But, yeah, it's just... It's not great. It's just all these little things. Just these little frustrations that they just build up over time, which is a shame because the diversity of the monsters you can capture, and by diversity I mean the overall variety and not the fact that one of them is a transgender, disabled, lesbian feminist. Just the overall quality of the monsters that you can get is actually pretty neat, despite the fact that half of them turn out useless because you need to focus on leveling up certain ones. And just like, I've got a lot of different monsters here, which leaves me with a lot of different options. I just wish I had the ability to, well, I just wasted 3,000. Oh, he's actually max level now. That's kind of nice, actually. Saves some time. I'm just going to level these up so they aren't completely useless for the fight. I'm just going to walk straight to, because I really can't be bothered spending too much more time here, because there's still one more dungeon I need to show you. So, right. Let's make sure everybody's healed up before I do that as well. There is no point going into this fight without being completely armed and armored. Just checking to see if I've got any heal items. Yeah, there's the herbal chips I was thinking of. Right. Sort the items and we'll just, yeah, Lua can get healed up. And we'll just walk into the fight with everybody as they are and get our shit kicked in. That's basically what happened the last time. So, I know it's actually behind this door here. Use the autopilot. Yes, please. Although, I almost guarantee you we're going to run into a battle on the way. No, we actually made it. Cool. Right. So this is a boss battle. This isn't even like the boss battle that I was expecting to get, but this is the boss battle that basically just made me decide, alright, I'm gonna go check out that last dungeon one more time, and then I'm gonna quit and do this video because, yeah, it's kind of a shit boss. I'm just skipping through the voice acting, aren't I? I apologize. I can't actually hear it. But yeah. There really doesn't seem to be that much of a story. None of the characters have any personality or are generally likable. And Lua is a bitch. Like, seriously. I really can't... I can't stand her. I can't stand the way they've written her. I can't stand her English voice. I can't stand looking at her goddamn face. She looks like a retard. She looks like, she looks like a reject for a background character for Gabriel Dropout. That's a reference I never thought I'd make. I don't even like Gabriel Dropout. Fair enough. Okay, screw it. I'm just gonna hold the... Huh. Holding the X button doesn't actually work here. Right, of course it doesn't. It works everywhere else, I just forgot that I turned it off. Right. I can't control my greedy love. What a weird fucking word. Right. Let's do this. So yeah, this is a boss fight. Okay. Astral Burst. And yeah, there's really nothing different. In the couple of boss fights that I've had, there's nothing different. It's just a stronger enemy who can hit harder. Cool, cool. So, let's see how long I can last in this fight. I'm gonna have to go to another dungeon after this, so, you know, stick around and all that. Because the other dungeon is actually the most interesting part of the game. And you might be thinking, well, why didn't you lead with that, you stupid son of a bitch? Gotta get that huge ad revenue. Gotta get that cash money. Right. Alright, Alright, so, yeah, we're all in really bad shape right now, which is not a good sign. Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to heal my... What was the cauliflower? Oh, cures poison. Great. Yeah, I basically need to get everyone to heal, mainly because if they don't, especially Hayato, our protagonist, because if he doesn't heal, when he dies, everybody else dies with him. So, yeah, that's not fun. Thankfully, little Miss Angel here actually has a healing spell. I'm gonna use the healing spell on the tank, because our tank is actually the best guy right now for attracting attention. And oh my fucking god, are you serious? Really? Really? Remember what I said about how the monsters you run into out in the actual world are way easier? Yeah, so that's what that looks like. So yeah, this is the creepy lady. I'm willing to bet that this is either God or Cthulhu. But yeah, I can pay karma to return before the battle, and that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, that's actually a lot of karma. I'm guessing... What? What? I don't... Fuck it, go to hell. No point, I'm not trying that fight again, because you saw just how quickly I got my shit kicked in there. Oh yeah, and by the way, go to hell doesn't mean what you think it means game over. And there goes Windows reminding me to update. Fuck off Windows. I turned off Windows Update, how'd you turn it back on? Right, let's load back into that game that I literally just loaded from like half an hour ago, and we'll go and check out the other dungeon. Now, the other dungeon is really fucking weird too, because it's another result of the game having an unusual localization. They tell you that the other dungeon is actually really good for grinding, but it's not, and I'll tell you why shortly. So if we head back out to the world map, and we go to Ryle Road, or Road, or however you want to pronounce Cthulian, we'll go into the Ryle Layer. Now, the Ryle Layer is where you go to do a couple of things. The dungeon is a 100-floor monstrosity, and it is a completely different beast in comparison to your regular dungeons. What happens here is you have this thing called the Phantom Tree, and you can register your party, including a special comment, and this special comment will go out to the people who end up eventually fighting your party, because your party will be beamed over to everyone who goes into this dungeon, and if you go to floor 2 or beyond, you will find these extra trees, and when you find these extra trees, you can fight off the other dudes in them, and, well, just use them as an experience dump, which is a pretty neat thing you can do. However, there is a main objective to this set of dungeons, and I want to get down to level 2 before I do that, because I want to just fucking leg it. You do not want to be around that boss when he gets close. So this is how it works. Every time you go down, you gain evaluation points, which will give you karma. The more monsters you beat, the more karma you get, yada yada yada, you'll get karma out of it. There are a couple of other different things you can do. So, you can capture astrals here, but you can't purify them without the crazy old lady's help, and I'm not even entirely sure how to speak to her at this point. And there are a couple of other things too, like if your demons, your fallen angels, whatever, if they go down in the fight, you won't be able to actually, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm having another stroke, yeah. If they go down in the fight, you won't be able to actually put them back out on the field again. It is quite the issue. And let's use the Astral Burst while I've got it. There's no point in holding on to it. Just have her defend because she can't attack, she's useless, and she misses half the time anyway. Bang, 332 damage. And now everybody just goes back on the attack again, which basically just involves holding down the X button, because I don't want to waste my MP, because all the other, like, really strong enemies in this game are something you don't want to fuck with, which means you want to hold on to as much of your MP as you can, and the only way you can get MP recovery items, at least so far, is by exchanging stamps in the store, and you don't get very many of them. Sure, you get a few, but not enough to make for a decent supply of them. Nothing's inside! Fuck you! At least I got 2,000 karma for it. That's not too bad. And if you couldn't tell, I lost all my progress, so that's why Mr. Enoch is back down to level 14 again, and I have all my karma back. So, the main goal of the roller is to find and steal the trapezoid stone. It's actually something slightly different, but I can't remember the exact name or how to pronounce it because Cthulhu mythos. The general idea is that once you've taken this stone, however... Oh great, it's an ambush. Fuck it, I'm running away. These battles just take way too fucking long, even with the battle effects turned off, so... Yeah, I'm just gonna run away as much as I possibly can from now on, just so you can see what a battle against Nyarlathotep is like, because once you steal that stone, you need to fucking leg it, because just like in, Mary Skelter, was it? Yeah, Mary Skelter Nightmares. You get chased down by Nyarlathotep when you take his stone. And once you're out of the floor, you can, you know, once you're out of the floor, you're fine, and you don't have to worry about running from him again until you find the stone again. Nevertheless, here it is. So I get that. I've opened the door, and he sounds very angry. He won't actively come straight for you, but it is entirely possible to get stuck in an area where you can't escape. And if you're not in the particular state to fight him, well, you're fucked. There's not much you can do about it. You just have to pray to God that you don't run into him. Alright, I'll fight him off. One dude. We can finish him off in one turn. There we go. It's a clever idea, but here's the thing. I went in with the wrong expectations. Like, the character who introduces you to this dungeon says it's great for grinding up your monsters. It isn't yet, because every level you go down, the monsters get like 2 levels stronger. So unless you go in at like level 16 for everybody, absolute minimum, it just makes it so that it just makes it so that it's actually really hard, and it says it's good for grinding. So here I was thinking, alright, here we go. I knew I was going to run into him eventually, because the path to the exit is a straight shot from here, and he starts right next to it. There's no hallways you can duck down and hide in without him coming after you, so you're fucked. Yes. But yeah, you can get stuck in a corner where you're forced to continually engage with him, and warping items don't work in here, so you can't get the fuck out of dodge. So, yeah, you just have to fight him. He's about as strong as the angel I was fighting earlier, but a little bit weaker on the attack side, but he's got about as much health. He's also got some different attacks, like that coma attack, for example, that will put you to sleep. But yeah, it's just another regular old fight. He puts this dude up front here that lets you, just, you know, gives you a little thing to work with there. But I mean, other than that, there's not that much else to it. I'm actually going to swap out my astrals. I'll just swap out a astral for a turn. There we go. So now our thing will be more powerful, slightly. And you can also see how it does all things like everybody takes more damage for 5 turns, which is actually a pretty useful ability in this game. $460 damage. Holy crap. Well, he's fucked. That's not great. That's not great at all. Better not Astral Burst again, because it does take up all your other mates' turns, and we do not want that right now. Skill. Let's use Provoke. Provoke is actually quite useful. It draws attention towards him. Blade of the Hunted, but his hostility isn't great. Could probably put up his hostility using the Provoke ability from him, so if I swapped their skills around, it might be more useful on him, or even vice versa, because he might have different things. And that's why I'm disappointed. That's why I called it the missed opportunity, because they have a few good ideas. I like the general just idea of the battling, where you have to raise up all your demons, you have to give them the right skills, and you have to spend karma to level them up, which is actually a really nice thing. Like, in comparison to, say, like Pokemon, where you have to keep a certain dude out on the field at any one, to actually get them, like, what's the word I'm looking for? My brain's not working yet. When you have to keep your Pokemon out on the field to get them XP, it's actually nice to be able to do that. And the whole just, you know, collecting your demons and stuff and using them to buff up your party and being able to swap them out at will so that you can have a ton of different strategies to work with and all that. It's pretty good. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. Unfortunately, it's the only thing about this game that's actually good. The story is boring as hell. The general performance of the game isn't great, and it doesn't look particularly great to make up for it. And it's just overall speed is annoyingly slow with huge sprawling dungeons that don't need to be anywhere near as big as they are, and the just general slowness of it all. I find it really hard to actually enjoy it. Like, the base gameplay is okay, but the rest of it just doesn't give me any reason to keep going. And I mean, that's pretty much my major thought about the game, really. If you like your dungeon crawlers and you can deal with the fact that all of the all of the story is kind of garbage and there's really not that much to it otherwise, it's okay. Just make sure you turn off all the battle effects and turn up the speeds immediately, and just turn the voices off just entirely. Just get rid of them. I mean, once you've done all that, it's alright. But I'm bored. I don't want anything to do with this anymore. I got bored like 2 hours ago and it hasn't really changed since. It's a competent dungeon crawler, gameplay-wise, and that's basically all it's got going for it. Which is sad, because a bloody dungeon crawler based around the Cthulhu mythos with a bit of heaven and hell stuffed in there. That sounds like a great theme for a dungeon crawler. And some of this stuff is actually pretty good as well. Like, I can appreciate I can appreciate his design here, but nobody else gets this. Like, a bunch of the angels that you see throughout the game, even a guy called Lucifer, not Lucifer, but Lucifer. I assume that's some kind of relation to Lucifer, but I can't give you that for sure. He's just a plain old ass human. It's weird. Like, why waste? I don't understand it. I honestly don't. Let's get another dude out here. There's really nothing I can do except just keep attacking him, more or less. Like, I've got a few skills that are good against like rows of enemies, but it's nothing that I really want to go spending on bloody Nyarlathotep. And the problem with this dungeon is that you only get the opportunity to get out like every, like, I imagine it's going to be 5 floors. And considering how long it takes you to get through bloody 1 floor of this game, and there's no suspense save, they probably want you to be doing this for like a fucking hour or two. It just seems like a waste of my time. Just seems like an absolute waste of my time. Yeah, thanks for telling me that we're at full HP, despite the fact that we're not all at full HP. For fuck's sake. why are you bothering to tell me something that's already on the screen? Like, he'll tell you, like, there's a lot of things with the same element. Not massively useful, but at the same time it could be like, you could change that line to be something along the lines of, get out the water types, we're gonna need them here. You could do something like that, that would be way more useful. I know that's a nitpick, but I mean, I don't have much else to say. Let's tree whip this bastard. Yeah, the deep ones is not particularly great, and apparently I broke him, I guess? Yeah, the burst gauge is at about 80%. Cool. Let's Astral Burst him. This is actually supposed to be a really hard fight. I'm surprised it's going as well as it is. See, that picture right there just kind of drives me nuts. The guy looks like an empty-eyed retard when he shoots that gun. It's weird. So yeah, he's close to dead, so this is where he'll start pulling out the really powerful stuff. Or at least I assume this is when he's supposed to pull out the really powerful stuff. You actually have to beat this guy on all 100 floors for the Platinum Trophy. Fuck that. Like, seriously, the boss battles in this game take long enough as is. I know I could put the difficulty down if I wanted to make the bosses weaker or what have you, but I don't know if the whole thing about, like, the monsters being just significantly weaker, like, in a way too wide a gap in strength levels between the boss and just the regular grunts beforehand. I don't know if that's a thing that'll be fixed on the lower difficulties, and honestly, I couldn't bother to check. Actually, no, hang on. It just... God, the interface has just gotten, like, surprisingly laggy. Like, moving between some menu stuff is okay, but when you're talking about something like the Astral Burst menu there, it's just slow, stuttery, and ugly, and it really doesn't make much sense. And to think, this is after fighting the Astral on one floor. Imagine trying to fight him on, like, 5. I can't use that due to low MP, I might as well just go on the attack then. I'm actually going to beat him, which is nice. He's actually a fair challenge, because he can't pop out the one turn and you're immediately fucking dead thing. Didn't even get that many experience points out of it. Got, yeah, the deep ones returned to the tablet because it's impure, because it died in the middle of the Chaos Realm. And yeah, Skeleton did as well. Honestly, there's no point in continuing on because I've already lost 2 of my dudes and I'm only on the first floor. And as I said before, I have to go down like at least... I only got to floor 3. I'm guessing it's floor 5 that I have to get to, and I don't stand a chance. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I got nothing else to say. It's a neat idea, but it just doesn't do much for me. The only thing that I can really appreciate is the base gameplay. Everything else around it just tends to piss me off, and that doesn't make for a very good game, in my opinion. I really should stop now. We've been at this for almost an hour, so there we go. Yeah. I don't know what to tell ya. They're charging $50 for this, by the way, which I know is, like... They're charging it on every platform, which is fair, but at the same time, why would they charge $50 for a niche dungeon crawler that's the sequel, that's not the sequel, but like in the same universe as a game that came out 10 years ago? How many people do they expect to buy The Lost Child? Like, they haven't even really been doing that much advertising for it, so... I don't know, man. I don't know. To think, for the last bloody game we're probably going to get from NIS America in English, what a game to end off on. If anything, it's kind of representative of the Vita in general. The missed opportunity. Or, actually, you can take the title literally, The Lost Child. Okay, alright, let's not make any more stupid jokes. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.